All right, the show that predicts everything, The Simpsons. Let's get it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's go.
In December of 1989, The Simpsons is the longest-running sitcom and the longest-running animated show in American TV history. It started out as a simple satire of everyday American life, but as we all know, over the years, it's become famous for something completely different, which is predicting the future with shocking accuracy. From sports to science to politics, the show has made way too many uncanny predictions that somehow ended up coming true. And while
That's not freaky. That's not freaky that they're doing this.
you could dismiss
I mean, that's why I'm watching it. No, oh God, no. Back in the day when I seen this shit, I was like, yo, this is insane.
as pure coincidences, and argue that some events were simply inspired by the show. There are so many eerily accurate and oddly specific examples of these predictions coming true. It even got to the point that they almost started to feel
The Simpsons predicted yesterday Nobel Prize in 2010.
less like coincidences and more like
Nobel
prophecy.
Prize,
But how is it
Otto,
possible
Nobel
that an animated
Prize.
show seems to have better predictions than some of the smartest
Are Simpsons writers time travelers?
minds in the world?
No, God.
To answer this question, people have come up with all kinds of
Because they're living backwards in time, their past is our future. This is also why the first 9 seasons of The Simpsons are the best ones. The writers had the most experience working on the show.
Our theories, but the real answer might be something completely different, and it has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. It's
What?
the waste, and this is how The Simpsons predicted everything. But before we uncover the truth of how these predictions happen, we need to look at some of these predictions themselves. Because the deeper you go, the more unsettling they really get. Probably the first major example of a Simpsons prediction.
Yo, chat, who in the chat watched Simpsons growing up? I feel like I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, but I never was like in it. Like I was more of like a I don't even know what Simpsons was on. Like I'm more of like a Cartoon Network type nigga growing up.
Is from the Lisa is Greek episode in season 3 back in 1992.
Like what was this
3
on?
days before the 26th Super Bowl. In the episode, Lisa tries to spend time with Homer by watching football, and they discover that she has a surprisingly accurate gift for predicting the winning team in any game. Naturally, Homer starts using her talent to place bets.
Mo, $23 on New York.
This ends up making him a lot of money, as Lisa keeps a perfect winning streak for 8 straight weeks, leading up to the Super Bowl, which featured the exact same teams as in real life, the Washington Redskins and the Buffalo Bills. When Homer asked who'd win the game, Lisa says that if she still loves him, Washington will win. And not only does that prediction come true in the episode, but 3 days later, in the real Super Bowl, the Redskins actually did win that year. And yes, this could have totally been a coincidence. After all, Lisa had a 50% chance of being right. But the thing is, it was not the only time. When the episode re-aired the next year, before the 27th Super Bowl, the Simpsons team redubbed Lisa's line to say Dallas Cowboys instead of Washington, which was once again true as the Cowboys went on to win 2 consecutive Super Bowls in 1993 and 1994. And the Simpsons was right once again in 1995 when they predicted the San Francisco 49ers to win that year. But of course, football isn't the only sport that they made predictions about. In a 2014 episode, You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee, Homer gets hired as a referee for the Soccer World Cup. In the episode, Germany beats Brazil in the finals to win the tournament. And strangely enough, when the actual World Cup took place months later, not only did Germany beat Brazil by a shock.
How does the World Cup work? I know that's like the most important day of like soccer history. Oh shit. Like, is the final game like the Super Bowl, chat? Is it where it's just like, it's like NFL, it's just like one game? Or is it like a serious, you know what I'm saying? Is it like a serious type thing? Like, I just know that's like the most important fucking day. Like, you got a World Cup, nigga, that shit's more than a Super Bowl and a I know that's like once in a lifetime and shit.
7-1 result, but they also went on to win the entire tournament, exactly as predicted. But that isn't even the most shocking part of this episode. Because before Homer becomes a referee, the show makes a joke about how corrupt the World Association of Soccer really is.
The rot is everywhere. In fact, I see that I myself am about to be arrested for corruption.
And as it turned out, just a year later in May 2015, the real governing body of world soccer, FIFA, was caught in one of the biggest corruption scandals the sport had ever.
9 FIFA officials and 5 corporate executives indicated for racketeering, conspiracy, and corruption.
With multiple high-ranking officials getting arrested. But arguably the most bizarre sports prediction The Simpsons ever made came in the episode Boy Meets Curl. In it, Homer and Marge join the US curling team and head to the Winter Olympics, where the US ends up beating Sweden in the finals to take home the gold. And in an unbelievable turn of events, the exact storyline came true 8 years later when the US won Olympic gold in 2018, also by defeating Sweden.
Is it a miracle?
No, that's freaky.
Redemption is achieved. The USA are Olympic champions.
Damn.
And what makes this one so bizarre is that at the time the episode aired, the US team wasn't good at all. They had never won anything, while Sweden had always been
That's freaky, chat. They're from the future.
one of the best in the sport, which is
y'all think this life is just like not real?
why this prediction ends up feeling so eerily specific. But these sports predictions are only the tip of the iceberg, because when you look at some of the everyday cultural events The Simpsons predicted, things get even stranger. For example, in an episode from 1990, there's a scene where people protest to censor the famous
1990? That's when this was out? Wait, bro, hell no. I was born 17 years later. I'm thinking niggas grew up. I'm thinking like that was like my era. That's not my era at all.
David for being rude.
Get dressed, Marge. You've got to lead our protest against this abomination. It's filth. It graphically portrays parts of the human body.
I thought that was my era.
As they may be,
that's not my era.
Evil.
On the surface, it feels like a throwaway joke, but
yeah. 1990, 10 years is 2000. Chat, is she trolling me? Are you serious? Are you serious, you fucking idiot? 1990. In 10 years, if it's 1990, 10 years is 2000, no? Yo, I swear, you're trying to make me feel stupid.
There have actually been multiple
Nah. You trying to make me feel stupid.
And other classical scriptures for that exact same
Fuck
reason.
you, little nigga.
Similarly, in another episode from 1994, Lunch Lady Doris is shown mixing horse meat into the food.
See, that's the math shit I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's that real math. That's that real mind shit.
At a time when Springfield Elementary was trying to cut costs.
Not everybody can do like me.
More testicles mean more iron.
This prediction ended up coming true
What?
in a far more disturbing way when, nearly 2 decades later, the 2013 European horse meat scandal broke, revealing some products labeled as beef were actually 100% horse meat. Even brands like Burger King were caught up in it. But what makes The Simpsons even more unsettling is when
I knew that Burger King meat was funky as fuck. That's why they call this shit a product.
predictions start lining up with real-world tragedies. On June 18th, 2023, for example, 5 people set out on an undersea expedition to view the wreck of the Titanic in a deep...
Wait, no fucking shot they did this. Wait, did they actually predict this damn submarine?
sea submersible. The
How long
story
ago was
quickly
that?
spread across the
Like
world
4
when
years
the
ago?
vessel lost contact with its support team only hours after the journey began. As a result, a massive international search and rescue effort was launched, but tragically, all 5 passengers were found dead when the submersible's debris was discovered 4 days later. And immediately after this tragedy,
I thought
an
these
older
niggas never
Simpsons
found this shit.
episode from 2006, Homer's paternity coot suddenly resurfaced. In it, Homer joins an undersea expedition to exploit the wreckage of a sunken ship inside a small submersible and gets stuck underwater. Soon after, people started claiming the Simpsons had predicted the Titan sub-tragedy. Naturally, many were unsettled by the similarities between
I do not know the surprises of the submarine Atlantic. They went down to see the remains of the Titanic. The Simpsons had already warned us.
The Simpsons writers should be investigated because
No,
this is
God.
insane.
Nah,
But at
that's
the same
actually
time,
insane.
A lot of people were unconvinced, as they argued that these similarities were way too vague and loose. Bruh, this has nothing in common except a submarine getting lost at sea. Yes, who could have possibly predicted that a submarine somewhere
True.
might get stuck? Truly
That's true.
unprecedented. But not every tragic prediction is that easy to dismiss, because some of them match real events with details that are impossible to ignore. In an episode that aired in 1993, after gambling is legalized in Springfield, Mr. Burns opens a casino and hires 2 male performers who put on a show with a white tiger.
Ja, sie liebt das Showgeschäft hier. Es ist viel gemütlicher als in diesem Dschungel.
But during their act, the tiger suddenly snaps and attacks them. The duo was a parody of the real-life entertainers Siegfried and Roy, who are famous for their animal-based magic shows. And as you can probably
did that really
guess the direction
happen?
this is going, 10 years later, in 2003,
Oh my
a nearly identical
gosh.
tragedy happened in real life. During one of their shows, a white tiger went out of control and attacked Roy, mauling his face and then dragging him off the stage. Even though he fortunately survived the incident, it left him with lifelong injuries that ended his career. And as unsettling as that prediction is, it's nowhere near the most chilling one, as these next few
crazy, I ain't
examples
gonna
are
lie.
even harder to explain. And one of them comes from Lisa's Wedding, a 1995 episode that's widely considered one of the show's all-time classics. Not only
Lisa
did
Wedding,
it win a primetime Emmy,
episode
but
that
it's
won
also
the Emmy in 1995 for outstanding animated program.
most discussed episodes whenever people talk about The Simpsons.
Oh my gosh!
Predicting the future, and there's a good reason for that. Despite airing in the mid-90s, it shows technology like video calls and smartwatches long before either of these things existed. And what makes it even more interesting is that the versions shown in the episode look very similar to the real devices we use today. But to be fair, these aren't the kind of predictions that keep you up at night. Like many of the show's other science-related gags, they are more like educated guesses, clever, insightful, but still within the realm of possibility. However, there's only one detail in this episode that's way too specific to call a coincidence or a wild guess. During one scene, the episode shows a glimpse of London's skyline from the future. At first glance, there's
damn, why is that bridge so fucking big?
Nothing unusual until you notice
that bridge is big as hell.
Skyscraper in the background.
Is that a
For
bridge?
years, this tiny detail meant absolutely nothing. It was just an odd shape in an animated backdrop. But then, on March 16th, 2009, construction began on the Shard in London. And by the time it was completed, not only had it become the tallest building in the country,
chat, who the fuck lives in London, chat?
But it looked almost
that
identical
shit just
to
seems
the tower
ass.
shown in Lisa's Wedding. And the most
uncanny
part
like
is
no
that
bullshit.
the episode places the building in the exact same spot where the Shard stands in real life. Another one of these oddly specific moments came from the season 10 episode When You Dish Upon a Star, which features a sign showing the 20th Century Fox logo with the phrase, a division of Walt Disney Co. beneath it. At the time, it was nothing more than a joke, which made no logical sense until 20 years later when Disney purchased 21st Century Fox in 2019 for more than $71 billion, turning that
niggas got that much money?
That random gag into another bizarrely specific and accurate prediction. And the prediction that really pushed things into uncomfortable territory came from the Simpsons movie in 2007. In one scene, while the family is on the run and Marge decides to return to Springfield with the kids, she makes a comment that would become shockingly relevant years later.
I don't know if you guys should be talking so loud. No, Lisa, it's not like the government is listening to everybody's conversation.
The film even shows the NSA as a massive surveillance agency, monitoring every phone call and conversation around the clock. Today, this idea feels obvious, but back then...
Chat, you think this is like a real life thing? Like, you think niggas is actually like this? Like, some people were just like, I wouldn't even say AI, but like just niggas just aren't real as fuck, and this is like a real thing? Like, niggas just watch? You know what I heard is that people said that y'all think birds are real? You think birds are real? And they just be sitting on top of the wires outside? Y'all think birds are real or no?
It was treated like a wild conspiracy theory. The movie came out a full 6 years before Edward Snowden leaked classified documents in 2013. These documents confirmed that the NSA and the government are actually secretly listening to every conversation and collecting data from millions of people through their phones and online activity.
I just need to like grab a bird one day. Like, I need to grab a bird to see that shit real. Like, I feel like every time I go near a bird, that shit, bro, they're definitely probably like spies. That's what I'm saying. Bro, why the fuck every time you send a message, it give me a loud ass noise? What the fuck? Like, what is that? What's good with that loud ass noise? Nah, that's what I'm saying. Birds gotta be spies. There's no way they're real.
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can, by any means possible.
And it's these uncomfortably accurate predictions that make some viewers start wondering whether the creators of The Simpsons somehow have access to information the rest of us don't. This came out years before the NSA leaks. They have a psychic in their writing staff. I swear, they didn't predict anything. They knew. But even with all that, the prediction that changed the way the entire world talks about this show didn't come true until 2016. In the season 11 episode Bart to the Future, we're shown a glimpse of America in the future, where Lisa has become the president of the United States. During a meeting in the Oval Office, she mentions inheriting a budget crisis from the previous president, and the show reveals that the president before her was Donald Trump.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
This episode aired in March of 2000. Back then, the idea of Trump running the country was absurd and extremely unlikely. He wasn't a serious political figure, and for most people, the idea of him becoming a president was really nothing more than a joke. But as we all know, that joke stopped being funny in 2016 when Donald Trump was elected the 45th president of the United States. And the moment it happened, this old Simpsons clip exploded across the internet, becoming a mainstream headline and leaving millions genuinely stunned. But there's still one more
what happened?
that overshadows everything else.
What the fuck happened?
In the 1998 episode The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer decides he wants to become an inventor, and in one scene, he stands in front of a blackboard writing a strange, complex equation. In 2015, British particle physicist Dr. Simon Singh published a book titled The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets, in which he revealed that this equation actually calculates the mass of the Higgs boson particle. If you work it out, you get the mass of the Higgs boson. That's only a bit larger than the nanomass of a Higgs boson actually is. It's kind of amazing as Homer makes the prediction 14 years before it was discovered. To give you a little context and show how insane that is, the Higgs boson is the fundamental particle of the universe and gives mass to literally every piece of matter, which is why it's also called the God particle. And to actually discover it in 2012, a large team of particle physicists had to use a massive 17-mile long machine called the Large Hadron Collider, which took over a decade to build and involved more than 10,000 scientists working together. So the fact that The Simpsons managed to scribble down an equation that lands strikingly close to the particle's actual mass almost 14 years before it was actually discovered feels almost impossibly eerie.
Fuck?
Over the years, predictions like this have pushed people to come up with all kinds of explanations for how this show keeps getting things so strangely specific and disturbingly accurate. The most common theory is, of course, that the writers are actually time travelers. The Simpsons writers are time travelers. They prepare our psyches for the bad stuff that will happen so that we will be able to move on as a species. And then there are other theories that claim that the show's creators secretly work with the government to soft launch the future of the world. The Simpsons and the US government are working together because they're both controlled.
Chad, I thought it was gonna be like flying cars by now, bro. I remember when I was like 2015 gang, 2016, I'm like, damn, 2025 sound like some shit, some weird back to the, like some future shit. Like it's gonna be flying cars and shit.
By the Illuminati. There's a difference between predicting the future and acting
Who thought that?
script that's already been written.
Oh God,
obviously, none of these theories come with any real evidence behind them, but they do show how desperate people are to make sense of what's going on. Which brings us back to the real question. If it's not time travel or secret scripts, then how on earth is the show able to predict the future this well? For viewers who don't believe in conspiracies, the simple answer is that it is only a matter of numbers and coincidence. This show has over 700 episodes. It would be shocking if they didn't get things right some of the time. Dozens of things happen in every episode, and there are hundreds of episodes. It would be weird if they never depicted anything that later happened. And this argument is backed by Matt Jermyis, who's an associate math professor at the University of Albany. Back in 2018, he estimated that the show had about 120,000 jokes in its 29th season run, making it 8.50 jokes a minute. So according to the statistics, The Simpsons just had so many jokes and so many predictions that they essentially
just got lucky.
But the problem with this explanation is that it doesn't cover everything. Sure, you can use the probability for broad predictions like the horse meat scandal or FIFA corruption, and maybe even some oddly specific ones.
It makes
like
sense,
Disney
but
by
I don't know. That's
Fox.
freaky as fuck.
But this theory completely falls apart.
They could be that smart though. The people that made Simpsons could be that smart though.
Reference or a broadcast. It was a precise calculation that landed remarkably close to a value thousands of scientists didn't confirm until 14 years later. On top of that, during their research, YouTuber Chubble found 30 such examples that were too specific to be dismissed as mere statistical coincidences. So how are they so accurate? Well, to answer that, Chubble interviewed Dr. Simon Singh, the same physicist who revealed that Homer's equation roughly matched the Higgs boson's mass. Dr. Singh explained that the writer of the episode, David X. Cohen, isn't just a comedy writer. In fact, he's a seriously knowledgeable guy in the fields of science.
So I got in touch with the writer of that episode, David X. Cohen. Now, David X. Cohen did a degree in physics and then did a master's degree in computer science and then had published papers in mathematical journals.
This nigga look cool as hell.
Actually worked directly with an expert to come up with that equation.
So he wanted to create this equation and put it on the board.
Yo, is there
So he
really
rang
like
up his
experts
friend,
though?
David
Like these
Sheminovich,
niggas really be in
who was a
labs with
professor
lab
at
coats and
Columbia.
shit.
They'd been at high school together. He said to David Sheminovich, could you concoct an equation that would somehow give the right result?
And while Dr. Singh was only talking about one specific prediction, this might actually be the key to all of them. Because when you look closely at the backgrounds of the writers who have worked on The Simpsons over the years, you start to see the pattern. Many of them graduated from places like Harvard and have expertise in fields like mathematics, philosophy, physics, and computer science. And once you consider this, all of a sudden, these predictions stop feeling so shocking. Because anytime you put a group of highly educated, analytically minded people together to collaborate on a show, it's only natural that their stories will follow logical patterns.
Right.
And sometimes that reality will catch up to some of these patterns eventually. Even when Simpsons writer Matt Selman was asked about this in a 2024 interview, he summed it up perfectly. If you study history and math, it would be literally impossible for us to not predict things. If you make a show that's based on studying the past foolishness of humanity, you are surely going to anticipate the future foolishness of humanity as it sinks further into foolishness fair. So in the end, the actual truth behind these predictions isn't as strange or supernatural as most of us
That's valid though.
It's the result of close minds paying sharp attention to how the world works and
but it's just the
heading.
fact of it's just the fact of it actually happening. You know,
you're bound to land uncomfortably.
It's just the fact of it actually happening. Like that's the thing that makes it like weird. Is like, damn, gang, these niggas predicted real life things that really happen, bro. Like that's what makes the thing so freaky. Damn.